Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I am your host, as always, Chad Porto, and joining me is the glorious one himself, Marcus Green. Marcus, how the hell are you?
Good man. Head of a long wrestling weekend.
It's a major holiday this weekend where zombies come back to life, people get wasted before big fights, and we have to deal with the babblings of a betrayal. I'm not talking about Easter, I'm talking about WrestleMania and all of the shenanigans that come with it. It's not a good card. Um, it's hype in name only. It's selling. It's not even selling out, and like that's the thing that really makes me laugh. Like it's not selling out. It's in the adult, what is it, vacation part of the world, right? It's in Las Vegas. Like, if you have any disposable income left, which not a lot of people do, you go to Vegas. And even with all that, people still don't want to go because, haha, turns out the clientele the WB is trying to cater, the rich elite, don't really give a shit about play fighting. Turns out it's like trying to make a McBurger for high-end foodies. High-end foodies aren't going to McDonald's. The hoitiest of toitiest aren't going to WrestleMania unless you pay them. Like, we know that, right? Like, the biggest name who shows up to WWE events who pays is Macaulay Culkin. Every time you see an A-list celebrity, they're not there like it's a UFC fight. They're there because they're being paid. And this card reflects that. Like, ultimately, this is a bad card. But we're going to break it down. We're going to go through it, and we're going to lament every single second of it, because this is one of the worst cards I've seen. And, like, they came off of a huge moment with Cena turning heel, and they didn't even capitalize off of that. Oh, my God, we're going to get to it all. Then we're going to talk about Unbreakable, TNA's event. That's also happening this weekend, so there's a lot of shit going on. I think, actually, Unbreakable is this Friday. But with that being said, let's get to the first match of night one that we think is happening, which is the War Raiders versus the New Day. New Day are being, dare I say, whitewashed by fetishists, or the brain fed, if you will. Uh, Basically, they're saying that the Usos are the greatest tag team of the modern era, and I'm just sitting here so mad at the state of the wrestling fandom because we have gatekeeping morons who are too stupid to tie their own shoelaces together, let alone intelligent enough to know who should be considered the greatest of the modern era, which is the New Day. They've been a tag team for almost, what, 11 years? Two of them have been world champion. Didn't Kofi, not Kofi, didn't Xavier Woods win King of the Ring at one point?
Yep.
So, like, listen, that's like a C tier title, but, like, they're all pretty good. Jay Uso is being force fed into a WrestleMania title shot because he has an entertaining entrance. It's Fandango 2.0. Jimmy Uso is probably a better wrestler than Jay. That's not saying much. Neither of them are that good on their own. And yet, Jay's in the fucking semi-main of night one. Jesus Christ, what are we doing here? Um, I don't care about this match. New Day and the War Raiders. I don't care. Marcus, I can't even begin to pretend to care. I didn't know the War Raiders were champions. I didn't know the War Raiders were still on the roster. The New Day haven't done anything since they quote unquote turned on Big E. And I'm just, you got
Yeah.
34 hours of television each week, Hunter. What the fuck are you doing? You're slobbing the knob of Donald Trump. You're not doing shit. Your product
Yeah. They
sucks.
they've been doing some interesting stuff back and forth with opponents on social media and whatnot. I think Kofi and Xavier have been doing the best that they can with what this is. They have gotten more entertaining, and thankfully they have been racking up wins, which is something they clearly weren't doing before. But yeah, like you said, as great as we've always known the War Raiders to be, they, and for as dominant as they is, they constantly fly under the radar. They end up having to just show and prove when they get in the ring. As far as New Day, like I said, they've gotten better, but not probably making as much noise as they could. But again, I don't know how much onus Raw puts on that tag division anyway. It's not doesn't really feel like the company as a whole puts as much onus as it should on this tag division, but you know, for whatever final reason, IWC, declares one of their teams as the greatest of all time, but that's one of those situations where it's like, tell me you don't watch anything outside this product without telling me. So
Yeah, and people who don't watch things outside of that product shouldn't be commenting, like at all. Fun little factoid though. They did a. It's not a factoid. It's more of a cute little um, mention of just something that I stumbled upon about a decade ago, 2014. I was watching the top prospect tournament, and it was Ray Rowe, who was I guess Eric, uh, Congo Kong, Corey Hollis, Mike Posey, Andrew Everett, the Romantic Touch, which if I remember correctly was just a Titus, Hanson, who was Ivar, and Cheeseburger. That was the eight prospects of that year, and the final two were Ray Rowe and Hanson, aka Eric and Ivar. And Hanson, Ivar went over, and I was like, these two dudes are gonna be studs in Ring of Honor. They're gonna bring back the era of Punk and Joe and Danielson. These guys are gonna be huge, and they were going to be, and they got put into this really great tag team. I don't remember what they were called when they were in Ring of Honor, but they were phenomenal. And the War Machine, that's what it was. And then they joined the WWE, and meh, for the last 7 years they haven't done shit. They won a few belts, sure, but like their feuds have always been boring. Their just general vibe is pedantic, and I feel like they've never lived up to the hype that they could have had. More importantly, I feel like the WWE should never knew how to use them. Like they took these two great wrestlers and just kind of left them.
yeah,
And
do you think Vince did to them what he did to Cross?
yeah, and unfortunately, what tag team I think of all the time when I see the War Raiders, which is such a stupid name. I remember one of the WWE bootlickers at the time. I forget what his name was. He's a bald dude, but he did like pre-shows. He's like, they made a right decision to change it. And I'm like, no, they didn't. It's fucking stupid. They're like, well, yeah, but War Machine has such a negative connotation. I'm like, why? He goes, well, there was an MMA fighter. I'm like, yeah, I know who that dude is, but like, nobody else does. It's not a. No, they changed the name because they wanted to own the rights. That's why they did it. Fucking stupid. But I think of Trevor Murdoch and Lance Cade every time I see the War Raiders. I'm just
Mm.
so disappointed in that. I think the New Day win because I think Triple H has to have a moment on the show where Black Talent win. So Triple H is like, I don't see color. I just. And then who the fuck was it? Booker T, that goddamn bootlicker. Well, maybe black talent just aren't good enough right now. Booker, you are such a fetishist, you brain-fed motherfucker. Ugh. So yeah, New Day will go over simply because Triple H needs to have his token black talent win, so he doesn't get called racist, even though he fucking is. Sorry, that's my rant. Sorry.
No, you good. No, you good. You're right. Booker just he's the sucker in this situation.
He really fucking
Uh,
is. Who you got winning?
yeah, I'm gonna go with New Day because I feel like they need some form of payoff for this heel turn. Um, because I feel like they waited probably about as long as they could to potentially get E back. That likely, unfortunately, won't happen. They had to make a move on that and do the thing where they kicked him out because they needed some form of finality to that, and then they move them into this heel position, and they have to have some type of payoff for it. So I feel like they're gonna, get over here some kind of way.
I agree. Though I still think it's a little late for the payoff of the heel turn. Next up is Chad Gable versus Rey Mysterio. I'm sorry, this whole feud sucks. Like he came out of nowhere with a feud with Ray. They're doing like AI art, which just makes WWE look cheap. Now the mask is a banger. I'll give him that. But really, like this is what we're reduced to. Like Pentagon's gonna get lost in a fucking four-way with guys so much better than he is at this moment. Sorry, one guy, Braun Breaker. Um, but like, you couldn't have done Ray versus Pentagon. Like, how dope would a feud between those two been? But no, instead we get fucking 40-year-old Chad Gable and 48-year-old Rey Mysterio. Kind of the average ages of the audience, but hey, what are you gonna do? Sorry, Chad Gable's only 39, and Ray's only
Yeah,
50.
yeah. God bless Red. I'm glad that we still got him. Certainly, always be one of my favorites. And I feel like they could all. I mean, I feel like that's Chad Gable's WWE story. Always could be doing more with this guy. Um, and I hate the fact that they knocked him off of that IC title narrative because I feel like I always appreciate when people like have these long term standing things of like kind of being obsessed with getting a title. We haven't had somebody like that in a while, well, in years, since like real bad, like Triple H, of course. Obviously, that was the horrible version of that mentality. I feel like we
Mm-hmm.
could have had this with Gable, and I feel like if we could have did some kind of way of working it onto a lucha individual, it would have made this whole training to understand and then beat and then potentially be a lucha though would have made more sense instead of this random side mission he felt like he got sent on, only to then be fighting, I guess, what can be considered one of the greatest luchadors of all time, obviously. But ultimately, I'm looking at this like I know these two can put on a banger. Even at Ray's age, we know him and Chad can put on a banger. But where does this go? What does this mean? Why? Like you're not putting the title back on Ray. I had to remind myself based off a picture that I saw that he even was U.S. champion. He got fed to Logan Paul for no goddamn reason. Um, but yeah, we we know what Ray's there for. He's the legend, all that, fine. But Chad Gable could be doing so much more. Chad Gable should probably be in that fatal four way for the IC strap.
Mm-hmm.
So but that's gonna do. But I guess if I had to pick a winner, I mean, narratively, got it goes. I guess for Gable, but every blue moon they'll sympathize with Ray and give him a big win. So, but I'm gonna go with Gable here.
Yeah, I'm going with Gable too. We have the feud I don't think anyone gives a shit about. Naomi versus Jade Cargill. This is going to be one of the worst matches on the card. This might be one of the worst
You think
matches in wrestling history.
you think so? Because of
J-
Jade?
Jade has not gotten better in 5 years. I keep waiting for her to get better, right? Ever since she debuted in 2021, I keep waiting. She was trained by A.R. Fox, Danielson, Dustin Rhodes, Regal. She's been with the Performance Center. I think Heath Slater's helped her out. I think Sanjay's helped her out. And she's not gotten better. She is still one of the worst wrestlers in the world. And I know everyone loves Naomi. She is such a delight, such a likable person. She is not Bryan Danielson in the ring. She is a C plus tier talent trying to carry a 0 degree talent. This is going to be horrendous. If it's good, I'll say it. I'll say it was good. I was entertained. It was nice. I have no hope for this because I've never seen Naomi have a great match. I've seen her have some good matches, but there's never been a night in my life where I'm like Naomi may have had the match of the night. There's never been a night in my life where I said Naomi may have had the match of the year.
Yeah.
And you're putting her with objectively the least promising in-ring competitor the WWE Women's Division has in its entirety, from Charlotte Flair all the way down to whoever's on this stupid A&E show. And I think people aren't worried enough about what's about to happen. I think Jade wins, and I
Mm.
think this is Jay versus Jimmy in
Mm.
2025.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I'd knock him that much because that match was bad.
Yeah, it was. It was very bad. Super kicks in.
I got to say just for the set alone, at least these two individuals got completely different move sets.
Agreed.
In that regard.
You're not getting Ermac versus like or Noob Saibot versus Scorpion.
Yeah. Um, but I wonder, like, 'cause the reason why she got paired with obviously Bianca was so she could get acclimated real fast and stuff, and Bianca's certainly one of the best. So that aided her, and I think Naomi is at least in the L to your point, even at the tier she's at, where she can certainly help her throughout the match. I also think so much of this match, even over the Usos, is going to be carried by their big personalities. Naomi's in this new whole heel phase now. Jade's, for the most part, is a lot of personality in her matches. So I think you're gonna have that emotional material. I mean, at least they have a story of like this girl literally tried to kill her, so that happening, coming off of the friendship as well. Even that feels more sustainable than the twin brother fight of it all. So I got more hopes for this match than you do, but I have no reserves for it being match of the night by any means. But I do think they're gonna try to do something real solid because I feel like they know the opportunity that they have, and I feel like they feel like they're gonna have to do it because this isn't necessarily a match that needed to be on the card, and I think they know that.
Hopefully. Um, let's move on to the U.S. title match. Are you picking Naomi to win?
Yeah.
Okay, me too. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. I have a bad feeling for Mr. LA Knight. I think this is not going to go his way. This is a nothing burger of a feud. I don't know why we're here. I don't know why Jey Uso is getting a world title shot at 40, but yet LA Knight, who is one of the most over wrestlers on the roster, isn't getting a world title shot at 42. Makes no sense. This is hell, and I hate it. I think Jacob Fatu wins. And unfortunately, I think this might be the end of LA Knight as a legitimate attraction for this roster because if you lose to Jacob Fatu in a rivalry that no one is talking about at WrestleMania, one of the worst WrestleManias in regards to pre-show hype that I've ever seen, that doesn't bode well. Excuse me, for your standing on the roster. A loss here basically surmises that they don't have faith in him as a full-time main eventer, which sucks because he should be. So I think Jacob Fatu goes over. What about you?
Logically, I want to say it's Jacob because they're on the same kick with Jacob they're done with Braun. To me, but I feel like they may let Eli eke out with a win because there's an overzealousness to Jacob when it comes to his opponents now, where he kind of he's not old like he keeps going for these multiple moonsaults, and I feel like that could be the chick in his armor that can be exploited by LA to kind of eke out with the win. And because I think a lot of this stuff we have to remember, a lot of this stuff is going to just spill over into backlash. So narratively, it might make sense for certain people who you wouldn't go with to get the big win to get it because they go run it back anyways.
I can't wait for Jeff Cobb to join the Bloodline. He says facetiously. The Bloodline storyline has got to be dead now, right?
Here comes Taller Tonga.
Taller Tonga. I don't think he is though. I think it's here comes Wider Tonga. Here
Oh,
comes Tonga
oh no.
Wider.
Tonga wider.
Speaking of Wider, maybe I meant that with a WHITER. Let's talk about Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair.
That was great.
Thank you, thank you. Um, if you were to show me a photo of Charlotte Flair when she made her WCW debut in like what was it, May of 2000 when she was like 14 or 15, and then you showed me a photo of her today, I'd be like, what is Charlotte's aunt doing here? The amount of work this woman has had done to her has not helped her. She looks so unnatural, and I don't mean like I prefer natural looking. I mean she looks like Chucky's bride at this point, and that's not a good thing. In the decade since she really became a star in this company, she's really proven that she's unlikable. She's got go away heat. Most of her matches aren't that good. She's a carbon copy of her father, and then she gets mad that she stole everything good about her father, and then everyone calls her Ric Flair's daughter, and she's like, no, no, I have my own identity. Do you? And now we have to go up and watch her mid ass have a mid tier match with Tiffany Midden. Like, this is one of the worst WrestleMania build-ups I've ever seen, and the talent, like Charlotte Flair's washed. Do we not already know that she can't stay healthy? She isn't popping like she used to. She's nearly 40 at this point, and she's just not what she used to be when she came up. And Tiffany Stratton is not a great worker. She is all, as kids say, aura. There's not a lot of talent here. She's athletic, but she's not a great worker. And then we're gonna watch these two botch fest, just just awful wrestlers, roll around the ring for 20 minutes while they have like thinly veiled insults towards one another. I'm sorry, I ain't buying it. Charlotte Flair's done. Move on from her. She's 40, and she's not staying healthy anymore. Like you don't stay healthy after 40 if you aren't healthy already. If you're someone like Terry Funk who just worked through everything, that's one thing. But there's a reason why Rey Mysterio has so many knee surgeries. There's a reason why Kevin Nash had so many knee surgeries. There's a reason why Bryan Danielson's, quote unquote, retired. Because once you start having injuries, especially once you hit 40, they just keep multiplying, man.
Yeah,
And she is, and to her credit, Charlotte Flair has wrestled an impressive style for the first half of her major run career. She did those stupid fucking moonsaults to the floor, which were just stupid on the body. Like she really put her body through it, and now she's not that worker anymore. She used to be top 5. Now she's just a name. And if you were facing someone better than Tiffany Stratton, maybe this would be a better match. But Tiffany Stratton hasn't had a match worth seeing since she won the belt or even before. She's a good promo. But she's a one-note wonder. It's not like Chelsea Green where she can come in and be bombastic and dynamic and funny or serious. I'm not a big Chelsea Green fan, but she at least diversifies her segments.
yeah.
Tiffany is just Tiffy time. It's Tiffy time. It's awful. And Charlotte Flair's not much better at this point. I have such high hopes for the other women's title match, but the build up and the personnel around it not great. But like, it's so much better than this one. I think this is going to be a bad match, and I think people are going to be quote unquote shocked that it was a bad match. But no one should be shocked when it ends up being a bad match. It's just not going to be good.
It's not likely helped by the fact they probably coming off of that horrendous segment. Um, they probably legitimately don't like each other, so there could be a moment in this match where there's a derailment in it, much like it was in that promo exchange,
Mm-hmm.
and you're almost anticipating it because of how off the rails that went. But and I'm only saying this for you, like I see these two in the ring, uh, now, and it's just like I'm just sitting there waiting to like I wonder which one will call the manager on me first. But
Charlotte, it'd be Charlotte.
yeah, but yeah, she got it honest. But yeah, it's like everything you said about her, that you've been saying about her for the longest, kind of came out in that promo, and even before that, when she came back and really tried to have the crowd empathize with her, they just didn't care. They didn't care. And so when she went on the talk show, Sherry Shepherd show, and she said, like, people know her character, but they don't know her. It's like all they've ever known is your character, and that soured on them to where they don't give a damn to know the girl behind it. They don't care. Like I feel like she would have literally had to say maybe she had a potential cancer diagnosis for the crowd to potentially wane because that's a naturally universal moment for people. But short of that, like take your ass to the back. Booze is what she was getting, and it shook her when she initially came back because she was legitimately trying to be vulnerable. And then when she tries to flip it now, and they just won't let her talk like she's Dominic Mysterio, she can't take it. So in that regard, it's like you kind of been doing this a little too long to kind of be getting flustered like that. And then Tiffy, I don't even know if they liked her more than Charlotte so much as they didn't hate her as much in that segment. So it's just it's not. But I do feel like she does have more of the momentum. So they really should allow her to retain. But they have such a hard on for Charlotte. And then we know how they love numbers and records, particularly with Reigns. And there's a potential to give her another title thing to match up with her dad. So you never know. And I don't know how much sway she has in the back because apparently during that segment when the whole thing about um, her divorces or something got up, apparently it got pulled. She had it pulled or something. There's some rumor that she had that pulled. So I don't. She may have some pull to potentially just outright go over this girl, even if that's not what's best for the booking. So outside of them really having an athletic exchange for the gods, I can't see this going well at all.
I don't think they would though, because I don't think Charlotte has that gear anymore. So I don't even
Mm.
think you can get there. By the by, she can match her father all she wants. She's been in the era of a double champion since she came up. It's not impressive. Winning 14 titles, or currently 14 because she won the Divas Championship and 6 Raw, 7 SmackDown titles. Winning 14 titles in 10 years across 2 shows, that's not impressive. It's just not. It just means that you had sway. A lot of titles doesn't matter. Gunther and Jey Uso are next. Tiffy's gonna win, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, Gunther and Jay are going to have. If it wasn't for Bianca and not Bianca, Naomi and Jade, Gunther and Jay are gonna have the worst match on the card by far. Gunther is a prime worker, and I mean this wholeheartedly. This man is the Bret Hart of his generation. There is no hyperbole in my voice when I say that. He is the Bret Hart of his generation for this company. He is easily the best worker going right now. And to see him get stuck in this skibbity toilet of a wrestler in Jey Uso, this just putz of a human being, makes my heart hurt. Because you could have had Gunther versus CM Punk. You could have had Gunther versus Roman Reigns. And that would have been amazing. Instead, we have the yeet, yeet, yeet. And I hope to God that Gunther wins. Because if I have to sit through a Jey Uso promo or another Jey Uso match where he's a champ, like this will be a worse run than Damian Priest, guaranteed. And it will only devalue this title even more so. This is depressing. I hate this. This is hell. This is hell.
Yeah.
So, hopefully it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I got way high expectations for Jade Naomi to deliver than this because I honestly I've seen this match several times now because he was chasing him for the IC. And he almost beat him for that once, and then bloodline interference, of course. Um, but yeah, it's weird because I like Jay. I get everything that's going on with Jay. They've done what they can for the emotional part of it. Um, but Gunther is just like the stud. You really shouldn't bet against or put out. Uh, but Jay got the momentum and he got the narrative, and they love their WrestleMania moments and him winning. after all this time, being a main event guy, to actually being in the main event for Mania, and just all of the emotionality behind it, I get it. But I have no things about it being a quality match because honestly, Jay is just not. He's not a dynamic performer. And a lot of this will come down to the emotionality of it, the kickouts, the kickouts, the kickouts, and potentially somebody come down to the ring to egg him on or whatnot. And I get the moment it's gonna be. I don't. Gunther's just too good a talent. Again, nothing against Jay. He's just too good a talent to waste on somebody who it's not like you putting a new guy over or a young guy over. You gave him the IC strap and it was great for the moment. I don't know if he held that title 3 months. Is the same gonna be said here? So yeah, kind of know where it's going, but I want to go with Gunther anyway.
Yeah, I think Jay's going to win, and it's going to be a problem if he does. Main event of night one, which is really just the middle of the show because the final match of the event is the main event. So, this is just, fucking the end of the intermission. Seth versus Roman versus Punk in a battle of the old dudes. Punk's like 47. Seth is 40. Roman is 40. What are we doing? Roman will be 40 next month. Seth will be 40 next year. And Punk is going to turn 47 this October. That was pretty damn close, actually. This feud sucks. It may have been fine if it was Punk versus Roman, or if it was Seth versus Roman, or if it was Seth versus Punk. But triple threat feuds suck. They suck so hard. And you're going to main event night one, mid card main event, with these three? Nah.
Now that you said it, what's the ratio on that? Because where would you so you've never seen a good one at all? Like, do you feel like also
I've
the
seen
Hunter Benoit Sean sucked, but the match delivered?
No, I've seen a few good matches. Unbreakable 2005. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. WrestleMania
Mm-hmm.
20. Great main event. But you can't do a great feud because even the like let's look at the Triple H HBK Benoit. How did that whole thing play out? Do you remember? Do you remember how that all happened? It's
I want to say
it's
that
the
baseline. It's always been Triple H, Sean beef, and Benoit was kind of the oddity.
kind of. So basically how it all ended up transpiring was that Benoit won the Royal Rumble, went from first to last. And then on a Raw heading into WrestleMania, Benoit's name was on a contract, and Shawn signed the contract himself to join the main event at WrestleMania and take his spot. That's all he did. He super kicked Benoit, then signed the match contract, which is stupid because all they would do is like, you don't actually have the right to the match. You illegally signed a contract. We're not going to honor it. We're going to tear it up, and it's going to be Triple H versus Benoit as we intended. So it's the stupidest fucking thing ever.
God, they just ran the same thing with the women. Jesus.
Right? So then with Styles, Daniels, and Joe, if I remember correctly, it was actually done because they were all feuding with one another at a time. But they also wanted to, if I remember correctly, Daniels was champion. And they wanted Joe to get in the title scene, but they didn't want Joe to win or lose. So they had Joe be the third man in their match. So Styles beat Daniels to win the belt back. At least I think that's how it happened. So the feuds have always been bad, and this has not been a great feud. And the fact that it has been revolving around Paul Heyman makes it even worse. But I don't know. I think CM Punk's gonna win because I think they want to send people home happy. What about you?
Yeah, I feel like they might get a punt. It almost damn near feel like at this point the three way is more about Paul Heyman than it is about the egos in the match.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's as much about Paul as it is the egos. I get to understand the favor now. I mean, it could have been something related to a title, but I understand the whole putting him by Punk's side for Mania because that was a promise made both on and off camera. Uh, but yeah, I feel like they could probably give Punk the thing because it's just that long standing beef between Rollins and Reigns. Feels like there's the Heyman emotionality of it might catch Reigns as well as the fact that he's be so obsessed with killing Rollins that Punk could just fully take advantage of it as like he's probably obsessed with putting Rollins down for that initial backstabbing with the chair as Rollins is getting rid of Punk. So um, don't doubt it's gonna be a all popping match if you will. But yeah, to your point, I mean Punk's overdue for a win in the event. He's won in the event, but he's never won in the quote unquote main event quotation marks. Obviously, like you said, this is the middle of the show. But yeah, I see Punk going over here. Do you see Heyman potentially betraying? Well, there's only two people he can betray, technically, I guess.
I think if anything, he betrays both Roman and CM and joins up with Seth.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that would be stupid, but it's terrible booking Sunday, so maybe. We got a few matches we can just blaze through. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez are taking on Leia Valkyrie and Bailey. I think Liv and Raquel win. I don't care about this match. What about you?
Yeah, same.
Styles versus Paul is going to break my heart because Paul is going to win. Paul is a terrible pro wrestler. He's athletic as hell, but he's not having great matches. He's having nice moves in matches. He has nice spots in matches, but I don't want to watch a Logan Paul match. He doesn't excite me. Unfortunately, Paul's going to win. What about you?
Yeah, I want to go with AJ out the heart, but like you said, narratively, it's just that I don't know what they're doing with AJ. Um, all his main matches, I feel like should mean something, particularly at this stage in his career. As I feel, I think you feel the same way. But Paul's kind of committed now, so they have to do more with him. I, Look, AJ can wrestle a broomstick, um, but even Logan Paul is not any cleaning supply I'd ever want to see in any good situation. So uh, I want to go with Styles just because I just kind of want him to get that old fire back, even though I know narratively he don't have the juice right now. So um, yeah, it just sucks. I don't deny that Paul's had some great moments. I just don't care to see any of them.
Agreed. I hope he goes back to boxing because get him the fuck out of this. In the fatal four way of the most uninteresting people I can think of at the moment, Braun Breaker versus Dom Mysterio versus Finn Balor versus Pentagon. I do find it funny that you have two dudes in their 40s, uh, Pentagon and Finn Balor, in this match. You usually could have put them against one another, but instead, here they are. Braun Breaker's the only one who should win this. He's the only one who actually has main event credibility and potential. Finn Balor's gonna be 44 here in the next few months. Pentagon's 40. Dom's 28, but he hasn't gotten better in like 4 years. There was a time when everyone was like, "Oh, he's gonna be the next great wrestler," and now he's kind of just a meme heel.
Yeah,
And like, I don't think that's. I think people who are like Dominic Mysterio is so much better than Hook. I think those people don't actually know wrestling and don't actually watch wrestling, and just
they say
watch
he's
the memes.
they say he's better than Hook.
Yeah, Dom is a very average wrestler. Now that's not bad. You look at David San Martino; he was worse than average. But Dominic he's a meme wrestler. He's everything everyone said about Joe Hendry. So, I got. I think. God, there isn't a good winner in this. I think they're gonna have Pentagon win, but I don't think he's gonna have a good run.
I don't know why Ludwig is not in this match.
Didn't he lose like 1,000 matches in 2024?
Maybe might not be off about that. I do remember a couple wins he had, but I just they need to be doing more with that kid. But yeah, look, pinpoint hands down. While Penta is the new hotness, Finn and Dominic are there and just there for like the Judgment Day beef of it all. The whole company has a bronze spear fetish now, and they're not getting out of that.
No.
So even if he got in this match and the only move he did was the spear, that's all they need him to do, and they'd have him win just off that.
I hope he
And that's no
retains.
knocking Braun. Yeah, that's no knocking of Braun. But when they get, he's must see TV now, and they eat it up. So yeah, I hope he retains too. I hope it's not something stupid where they finagle it and somehow Dominic eats out with a win because they've screwed Braun in those ways before in multi-man matches. I think that's how he initially lost the NXT title when Dolph got it. So yeah, hope I'm pulling for Braun for this.
Damian Priest versus Drew is next up. I don't care. Drew. That's it. That's my
J-
pick.
give it to Drew. Drew needs consistent moment. I like Damien, but I'm just like, what are you? Y'all got to piss or get off the pot with one of these guys, and it's just more. It's a better toilet with Drew, for lack of better phrasing.
Another 240-year-olds. It's an old ass card. Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley. I don't know what everyone's affinity for Io Sky is. She's a good worker,
Hmm.
but she doesn't have much personality. I feel like people just like her because it's one of like itis. It's like, oh, I really like her. I don't. I doubt she's moving merch. I doubt she's moving tickets. I think Bianca versus Rhea is the match to make. They're probably your two biggest names, and they're both solid wrestlers. I don't think either one of them are top three, but they're at least good enough that if you put them in a semi-main or even main event of a WrestleMania, they'll deliver. At least better than some matches we've seen in the past. And I think they just kind of stuck Io Sky in there because they're like, oh yeah, she's meme popular right now. She's social popular.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because like when you were just explaining the WrestleMania 20 main event, I'm like they just ran the same, and somebody, and then obviously people on Twitter because they just all of a sudden become historians when stuff pop up. I'm like they just ran the same narrative they did with Benoit Hunter and HBK with this,
Yeah.
and it sucks because I'm like, do you guys not know that Bianca and Rhea are money and that they probably deserved a solo Mania match? And y'all feel like y'all didn't know how to get to that because both of them at this stage in the game were technically faces. That y'all didn't feel good enough on your own to suitably have a proper build of that. Not that y'all been putting much momentum behind anything else. And y'all just pinned EO in there. And now y'all got Rhea. And I like Rhea, but she's come off looking completely dumbfounded in this feud because she conceded that she's the one that cost herself her title. But then all of a sudden wants to put the blame on Bianca because she was outside cheering both parties. Like that's not the character you have coming off emotionally unintellectual. And I don't have a doubt this gonna be a good match, but I don't know how it's gonna go. And I feel like ultimately you just trying to get to Rhea and Bianca. Like just do Rhea and Bianca. Don't do this match because you clip EO if she loses this fast. But Bianca that technically has an undefeated streak. And it still feels like the way that they've done the feud, they just want to do Rhea and Bianca anyway because they keep doing this thing where the heat's between the two of them, and they treating EO like she's the tagged on little sister that had to go with their big sisters to the store,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just not good. Like I said, they're gonna have to over deliver for the bad build in the match, but I feel like they're just trying to get to Bianca and Rhea anyway, and it might end up going to either Backlash or SummerSlam. But I'm like, y'all about to waste Bianca and Rhea, and y'all kind of have to capitalize on it because they're on two different brands. Then I have to think about what they're gonna do the stupid draft thing after Mania anyway, right? So, oh,
Yeah. That's how I feel. I think Io's gonna retain, but we'll see come the day of.
yeah,
Main event: Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. I can't tell you how disappointed I am. Like there was some genuine intrigue for me after Elimination Chamber when John won. Um, so, I'm shocked that we're here. that after 2 months of build up, this is the best you could do. A not heel John Cena and Cody Rhodes, who, well, yeah, he's moving merch. Let's be honest. I don't think he's really been that impressive during his title run, though. And I think it's one of those things where, when you think about that, like, this has been kind of a dull situation. And I wonder if maybe CM Punk winning and facing Cody Rhodes wouldn't have been a better option, because you could have turned Cody heel. It would have been the perfect opportunity for Cody and Punk to head into this, and you could have stuck it to AEW fans and AEW as a whole. But instead, we had this really cool John Cena heel turn at the moment. But then he spent 2 months, maybe 5 or 6 appearances over that time, being kind of like, oh, I did it because you said I couldn't, and I did it because you said I was old, and I did it because I still believe in hustle, loyalty, and respect, and I did it because I want to beat the best. And it's a half measure. It's a half measured heel turn, and it's gonna go down as one of the most disappointing heel turns of all time. And he's not going to be a heel for long. He's going to go back to being a face after this match, win, lose, or draw. And we're going to be wondering what the fuck was the whole Elimination Chamber thing about, because it didn't turn into anything. More importantly, this is going to be a bad match. Again, I do not know why people have any expectations for John Cena right now. The man is 48 years old. He has been wrestling and moving so often, and he's a power lifter, which also breaks down your body and joints as well. So he's been a power lifter, bodybuilder. He's been this just gargantuan human being for 20 plus years. His body is broken down. He does not run the same way. He does not move the same way. He is slower. He isn't as tactile. He hasn't had a great match in years. And what we think, because it's Cody Rhodes, who can have a good match. Like, Cody's not bad at wrestling by any means, but Cody's ability to have a huge, main event quality match, the year contender match, very rare. We had his brother and him. Um, People will say Roman last year, but to that I'll say, that was only good because of the Easter eggs of it all. The callbacks and surprises. It in itself wasn't a great match. And now we're gonna have to watch, two dudes who aren't that far apart in age. Cody's 40. John Cena's 48. We're gonna see them wrestle at WrestleMania, and people think that this is gonna be some type of Matt classic. Don't believe that. It might be entertaining, but I think it's gonna be pretty obvious why John Cena is retiring this year. And I think, more importantly, it's going to be pretty obvious why it shouldn't have been John Cena in the main event. It might be fine, but that's as good as this match is going to be. It might be fine.
Yeah, and it was a joy seeing like that whole Cena go from, because we seen Cena's complete climb, um, early 2000s to what he is now. Certainly been a hell of a roller coaster ride in that regard, but it's, yeah, it almost kind of goes without saying. This has been disappointing. If only for the thing is, like, I'm looking at this feud and I was just so much more entertained watching The Rock torture Cody all those months last year without any potentiality that we were going to get a singles match. And I'm absolutely bored with this feud knowing we're getting a singles match. And I don't know if it's because, like you said, it feels like he's a heel and like narrative only, whereas Cody's just unchanging, babyface that comes out and does the I'm here, I'm the quarterback, bell to bell, I'm gonna get the job done. God bless y'all. God bless the United States of America deal that he's been doing the whole time. And it's not really elevating in any way. And Cena's definitely at the end of his rope physically in terms of performance, which is kind of feeds into the desperation of going heel. But for some reason, like you said, it's kind of just gassed out. Like he beat the hell out of Cody. Cody's not really returned that favor with the energy that he should have. He got the upper hand on him in one of those exchanges, but other than that, it's just not what it could be. And maybe that's because they feel like they don't need it to be. It's two of the biggest. It's the guy that is the quarterback versus the guy that was the quarterback, and they feel like that's enough. And maybe we're asking for too much. I don't know.
It might be enough, right? It might be enough. We might see a match that makes us go, "Wow, I'm glad I watched that." More than likely, we're going to see a match that makes us go, "Wow, they had so many better options."
Yeah.
So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I have Cody retaining. Probably they're going to do a situation I think similar to Bound for Glory 2011. I think Cody retains. Rock comes down and tries to fight Cena. Cody saves Cena, or Rock comes down and fights Cody, and then Cena saves Cody from The Rock. But either way, you're going to get some type of dynamic where John turns face at the end of the night because that's just how this is at this point, honestly.
Yeah.
There is a show, though, this weekend that I think fans should be heeding, and that is the Unbreakable 2025. It is a 20-year anniversary of Unbreakable with the Styles Daniels Samoa Joe match. Should be interesting. They're celebrating it by having 3 triple threat matches on the card. Technically, it's a 4 triple threats tournament, 4 triple threat matches tournament. I forget who AJ Francis faced, but he defeated 2 names to advance to the finals of this tournament. Zachary Wentz, JDC, and Eric Young, and then Eddie Edwards, Ace Austin, and Steve Macklin will represent the other 2 qualifying matches. Those will happen on the show itself. The winners will then go to face AJ Francis for the new TNA International Championship. I like the concept. I like the homage. I hate the matches. Do you know who AJ Francis beat just off the top of your head?
No, I don't.
Let's see. Maybe I can pull it up real quick. There should be like a tournament thing. AJ Francis defeated Sammy Callahan and Mance Warner. Now,
Yeah.
those 2 are on this card, and I love that they are. I have a complaint about it, but we'll get to that here in a second. I think you could have had Macklin, Austin, and Eddie be your final 3, and instead it's going to be the opening or one of the openers. I'm hoping that it's Zachary Wentz and Ace Austin going up against AJ Francis with Ace Austin winning. I hope that's the route
Yeah.
they go.
Yeah, and this is to become the new champion.
Yeah, the new TNA International Tournament champion.
Because I really been want to ask you about this. What are your thoughts on that whole thing? And obviously, you're not going to be able to escape the middle finger with the name of the title.
I don't have an issue. The fact that there's only one international wrestler being Eric Young. Is
No,
it?
just the name because obviously AEW has theirs.
Yeah, but how many companies have a TV championship?
Yeah,
I'm not worried about it. I think it's a fine name. It's nothing impressive, but it's fine. As long as Ace Austin wins this,
yeah.
I think you're in the right direction.
Do you? Well, I'm probably asking you this too early because only time will tell. Do you think narratively everything that they've done, everything that they set up so far, retiring the digital media title was the right move, and this could potentially be maybe the hat trick for solving their secondary mid-tier problem that they've had for years.
I don't know. It all depends on how it's booked. I didn't think the Digital Media Championship was handled all that wrong. I
Yeah,
didn't like that it was an intergender championship, and I didn't like that they didn't put it on pay per view. But I thought it was a good title. It was a nice looking title. I warmed up to it over time, and I thought it served a nice purpose. You need a lower tier championship for the bottom rung guys to fight over it,
yeah,
and I thought that was a nice championship. for that reason. So I don't like that they retired it. I like the idea of bringing in the international championship. I don't think it needed to come in at the departure, you know, uh, of the DMC. I think you could have had both. Speaking of having
Mm.
both, though, major six-man tag match implications. Rebellion is 2 weeks away. So Unbreakable is setting up a lot of Rebellion's matches, and at Unbreakable, it's going to be Mustafa Ali and the Nemeth taking on, sorry, Mustafa Ali and the Nemeth taking on Mike Santana and the Hardys. Mike Santana and Mustafa are going to be facing off at Rebellion, and then the Hardys will be defending their tag team titles against the Nemeth at Rebellion as well. So we're going to get a little teaser here. This is a fine enough match, right? Nothing, I think, special. Despite the fact that Ryan Nemeth is fairly new to the wrestling scene, he is like 40. I think people kind of forget that sometimes. And the Hardys are pushing 50. Nixon is mid 40s. Like TNA, much like the WWE, really needs to find younger wrestlers. But I think for the casuals, I think this is a good enough crowd, a good enough match for this crowd, and I think it's going to do the justice of getting Mike Santana a little bit more familiar with the rest of the wrestling populace, because I think at 34 he is one of the names to build around. So hopefully this
Yeah,
can do just that.
yeah, I got every expectation it's gonna be a quality match. Everybody in here is a hoop. Well, uh, the secondary Nemeth is a good enough hooper next to his brother. They work fine together. And Mustafa's been putting in a lot of work since he signed, even before he signed. And like I said, I've been saying for months, Mike Santana got next. I think he's been somebody they've been properly building towards a
Mm-hmm.
world title. Um, with obviously Kazarian being in the wings with that caveat. But yeah, everybody in this match has been having their moments. Not, I think it's gonna be a quality six man. But TNA always delivers on these situations.
Speaking of delivering, we have Barbed Wire Massacre next. It's Sammy Callihan versus Mance Warner. This will be the sixth Barbed Wire Massacre match, dating back to 2005, nearly the 20th anniversary of the first one. Sabu versus Abyss at Turning Point '05. Then we had Judas Messias versus Abyss at Against the Lotto 8. We had a 10-year hiatus. Then LAX with Homicide, Santana, and Ortiz took on OVE's Dave and Jake Chris and Sammy Callahan. And from that night on, the next three have been Callahan's to own, although he's never won one.
Oh
Because
wow.
Eddie defeated Sammy Callahan 3 years later at Hard to Kill. And then Steve Macklin defeated Moose and Sammy a year later at Victory Road 2022. So now here we are, roughly 2.5 years later. Sammy Callahan will take on Mance Warner in another barbed wire match. This has now become kind of his match. This is his fourth match that he'll be in. And I think that says something about how they see Sammy and Mance, and I think it's going to be maybe match of the year. I have high expectations for this match, even though I think Sammy Callahan is no longer a headlining wrestler, talent-wise. I think he will be perfectly suited to make Mance Warner look great in this, and I think Mance Warner wins. So I
Yeah. It's
hold on to your butts for this one.
Yeah, you've been really up and man. So I've not seen you bet on a bad horse yet.
Thank you.
So I'm keeping my eye on him. Oh, you're very welcome. So is in this situation, because I always like to do a good throw it back. Is Callahan um is to like Mance now what Abyss was trying to beat a brand back then?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say. Main event might be the barbed wire massacre, but it might also be this interesting intergender tag match. It's going to be Joe Hendry and Masa Slamovich, the TNA World and TNA Knockouts World Champions, taking on Frankie Kazarian and Tessa Blanchard. I think the heels, being Kaz and Blanchard, will go over here just to help build a type of hype for Rebellion. But I don't think this match is going to be too impressive. I don't think it's going to be a bad match. Just don't have high hopes. It's going to be fine. It's the best
Yeah, I
way I
just
can
don't know
put
how
it.
they go. Yeah, top competitors in the match. I just don't know how they're gonna mesh together. In terms of the individual teams, I just know you know, Frankie's gonna get peppered with a lot of tests. So we coming for you. But
Yeah.
yeah. Other than that's the one guarantee I know is coming with this match. But like I said, we see how this goes. I don't have no doubt it's gonna be a certain level of quality. But like I said, I've not seen these particular combinations before. So
Finally, my lone complaint is about the Barbed Wire Massacre not happening at Rebellion, their pay per view offering, because Rebellion is shaping up to be a pretty damn looking good card. Save for the two main event matches. The main event matches are Slamovich versus Blanchard, which is fine, and then Hendry versus Kazarian versus Ethan Page. I don't. Ethan Page doesn't need to be part of this card, and considering he's going to likely lose to Ricky Starks about a week and a half prior to this event, I'm worried that Ethan Page will win the TNA World Championship, and if that happens, just fucking close the company at that point because there's no recovering from that. Now they may have put Frankie Kazarian in this match to eat the loss, and if that's the case, fine. But Ethan Page's no.
is this using Kaz's thing?
Yes. Yeah, this is
Uh,
Kaz's Call Your Shot championship opportunity.
Look, man, if you gonna pull that trigger and take it off Hendrick, put it on Kaz. Put it on Kaz. It cannot go to Ethan Page.
No.
We cannot break this. Is a championship ever gonna change hands with goddamn all EGOT? They don't. No. What? No. Put it on Cass. He's deserving of it. He's put in the work. He's been one of the most consistent guys since he originally came back to TNA. Um, and if you're gonna take it off him, you got to give it to somebody. Reward loyalty. That's not stepping out the door because I don't know what that me and Chad have been calling that narrative out for years. Reward loyalty, and Cass is somebody who can get that done. And you need a natural heel if Santana's going to be the next face to take it. So yeah, but I don't know why they threw Ethan in this. That's my head scratching thing along with you. Um, it's weird. Like great Grace, great champion. Shaky run because of the competitors. Masha same, and now it feels like Hendry's in treading that too. It's
Right.
weird.
Don't take the belt off Henry. Not for Frankie, not for Ethan, not for anyone. Joe Henry is helping this company draw. It would be foolish to take the belt off him. That
Was he
being said,
teasing the injury?
yeah, but I don't know if that's a storyline injury or not.
Gotcha.
That being said, the rest of the card looks pretty good. Hardy's versus the Nemesis should be a lot of fun. Mustafa versus Santana should be a lot of fun. The 6-woman tag match is interesting. I have a bad feeling the Fatal Influence will defeat Rosemary, Zaya, Brookside, and Lee Ying Lee. But on the off chance that those three win, that's great. Elijah's likely going to be facing a debuting wrestler, and we're likely going to get a debuting wrestler in the Ultimate X match, I think, because Moose will take on Casey Navarro, Leon Slater, Matt Cardona, and the returning El Hijo del Vikingo, and one other name yet to be announced. I think if you had added the Callahan Manswarner Barbed Wire Massacre match to Rebellion, I think things would be a lot stronger for this pay per view offering as opposed to
Mm.
strengthening the TNA Plus offering. I think the triple threat. I think you could have done a whole tournament for the Unbreakable International Championship, and that would have been enough. But instead, we got what we got. I think
Yeah.
it'll be fine though.
Yeah. Do you think even with yet another slew of we're gonna say questionable hiring slash firing uh situations that they've maintained interesting, creative in terms of how they've been putting these cards together?
Um, it's possible.
Yeah.
It's hard to say until we see it, but
Yeah.
I think that'll do it though for this week's show. Um, I, I know I have nothing else I really want to talk about at the moment. Anything else can be saved for next week when we talk about the fallout of WrestleMania and Unbreakable. Mark, any final
Yeah.
thoughts?
Oh man, just be on the lookout for for the Nerd Corp Twitter, because Chad's never lacks on his opinion when it comes to this stuff going down. So
No,
be on the lookout for that.
no, I have not. So, for Mark Screen, I've been Chad Porto. Be sure to follow us at the website, realnerdcorp.com, REALNERDCRP.com. We're also on Twitter at NERDCRP. We're on Instagram, and no, we're not. We're on Twitch and YouTube at The Wrestling Underground, so check us out there. Marcus, you can be found on your personal Twitter account at ParadoxKid, PARADOXKID.
That's me.
He's also got his other show, The True Penny Show, TruePennyShow, over on Twitter. They're going to be covering some international stuff, so be sure to check them out for their next episode. You can find me on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, CHEDNERDCORP, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo at CHEDSPHODOHOT. All that being said, we're done. Marcus, unless you have anything else you want to add, why don't you take us home?
Good night, me.